It's been 2 years since I recorded my first audiobook, and I'm still getting checks off of it. And I know a lot of you want to get started in audiobook narration and earning a passive income for recording audiobooks from home. In this video, I'm going to help you out and let you know 5 things that successful audiobook narrators do that you don't. Let's get to it. Can you hear me out there? Okay, good. I'm glad you're hearing me loud and clear because I have been asked so many questions that I want to be able to give you the answer to them in this video. I actually just got off of a call with somebody from my audiobook narration course called the Audiobook Blueprint. In case you're interested, I'll link it down below. But when I was speaking to the student in my course, she was asking me some awesome questions, which is the reason why I'm doing this video today. Because a lot of you, not just my student, but a lot of people have been wondering what it takes to have longevity in the audiobook narration game. So if you're new to this channel, just real quick, the platform that I primarily use to do audiobook narration is called ACX. It's owned by Amazon. So when you get hired to do an audiobook on ACX, that recording will end up on Audible, which is the #1 platform for audiobooks. So I want you to know that most of the things that I talk about in this video are going to help you when it comes to doing audiobooks on ACX. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into this list. And the first thing that successful audiobook narrators do that you don't is having a dedicated space. So that is one of the things that was just covered in my call. And it was a question of, okay, well, where do I record? Where do you suggest that I record? I know a lot of people don't have a dedicated space. Like, I mean, how many of us have the money to get a studio? I don't. So what I do is I have a dedicated space here in my bedroom. This area right here is my bedroom. I used to have a home office, but now I'm in a 2-bedroom instead of a 3-bedroom. But my bedroom here is way bigger than any bedroom I ever had. So I have the space to be able to set up my audiobook narration equipment here in this section of my room. But what if you don't have a big room? No worries, because a small room actually has its pros as well, because in a smaller room, you have less of an echo. So it doesn't have to be in your bedroom or in an office. It can also be in your closet. My closet is a walk-in closet, so I've considered recording in there because the acoustics are incredible in there. So I just gave you a few ideas. You can record in your bedroom, a home office, a closet. If you have a laundry room, that will work as well. Or if you happen to have like a little den in your house, just make sure you soundproof. The second thing that successful audiobook narrators do that you don't is carving out a dedicated time to record, especially after you have a contract. Once you have a contract, the time starts ticking. You have a certain amount of time to get your 15-minute checkpoint in on ACX. Typically, that's within a month. The audiobooks that I've done, I've typically had about 3 to 4 weeks to put in that 15-minute checkpoint. And that may sound like a long time, but if you don't know what you're doing, then you better get on it, because that time will fly. That's why it's important to dedicate some time to record. Even if you don't have an active audiobook narration contract yet, you still want to dedicate some time to practice. Get a book off of your shelf, record yourself, play it back, put in for some auditions. That's all stuff that's going to take time, and you should dedicate some time to do it. Now, me personally, I prefer to record at night versus in the daytime because people are up and moving around. And if you happen to have neighbors, or if you live in a city where sirens might be going by and all kinds of stuff, that stuff normally calms down like after 8-9 p.m. So you might want to record at night, but that will depend on what you prefer to do and your own schedule, but you definitely want to carve out some time to record. The third thing that successful audiobook narrators do that you don't is to invest in equipment. If you're just starting out, you got to do what you got to do. I understand not everybody can invest in a microphone or invest in expensive equipment, but I don't know how many times I get asked the question of,
do I have to get a microphone? Do I have to have some soundproofing equipment?
And oh my goodness, when it comes to recording on the phone, you're not going to be able to change my mind on this. The sound difference between recording on a phone and recording on an actual microphone are night and day. You can clearly hear the difference. I'm telling you, it's definitely worth the investment if you buy some equipment. This is my microphone. This is a Shure MV51. This is what I use to record. I'm not using it for this video right now. I use a different microphone for that. But when I'm doing my live streams or when I'm doing voiceovers or whenever I'm recording audiobooks, I use this microphone. This microphone does not come cheap. It's about $200 for the base model. You don't have to go buy expensive microphones such as this one. I've talked about my equipment here on this channel several times, but if you don't know about my equipment, then you can check out my Amazon store where I have a dedicated idea list to the equipment that I use and other equipment that I suggest. I even have bundles that include a microphone and a pop filter, which is the screen that goes in front of the microphone to help the sound even more. Those bundles can be under $50 and they have great reviews. If you don't have a big space, you don't want to go getting huge equipment, all right? So definitely check out my Amazon list in order to see some smaller equipment that you can use that's also within your budget. The fourth thing that successful audiobook narrators do that you don't as a beginner is finding the right book for your voice. And when I say the right book, I'm putting it in quotes because the right book for me is not necessarily the right book for you. On the ACX website, they do have filters where you can narrow down the type of books that you're doing, whether it be genre, and they have filters for your voice as well. So for me, I always tick that urban filter because I know I have an urban accent. And other options include gender, age, all of that stuff. And just know that it doesn't go off of what you really are. You could be from America and do a great English accent. So it doesn't matter what you actually are, what your gender actually is, none of that stuff. It actually depends on how you sound. Recording audiobooks is voice acting. We've all seen professional actors do this. For example, Idris Elba. I was so shocked when I heard how that man really talks. The first time I saw Idris Elba, he was Stringer Bell on The Wire, thug as ever. And then I see interviews of him and he has this British accent.
Look at me. I'm Black Superman.
And I'm like, wait, is this a joke? He's an actor. He's a great actor. So keep in mind that if you have a certain type of accent or if you can do a certain type of accent, go for those types of books. But whatever you do, try to go for a book with your sound. Be realistic about what you sound like. That's actually something that I help people with in my audiobook blueprint course because people don't necessarily know what they sound like. So while I'm talking to my students, I will point out, oh, you sound great for this type of book. So that way they're getting started down the right path instead of picking a book that doesn't necessarily interest them or isn't for their voice. So definitely make sure you pick the right book. The fifth thing that successful audiobook narrators do that you don't is learn how to use the platforms. So when it comes to ACX, there is a lot to learn on that platform. I'm telling you, it took me months to learn what I know now about using that ACX platform. For example, did you know that you have to have a couple seconds of silence at the beginning and end of your chapters when you're recording to submit on ACX? A lot of people don't know that, but successful narrators will do this. They will take the time to learn the platform, learn what the requirements are, and then implement those. I know it can be overwhelming, and meeting those daggone strict sound requirements is just the one thing that basically almost made me jump off the bridge. I stuck with it and I did it. And that's the reason why I created my audiobook blueprint course, is because I wanted to streamline the process for anyone else that wants to get into audiobook narration, because I do realize how confusing it is and how frustrating it is to get into audiobook narration. But once you get in and you start getting those checks, baby, it is worth it. I'm here today sharing this information with you all because I stuck with it and I was dedicated and I learned a lot of things that I want to share with you all. But trust and believe, this free content that I'm sharing here on YouTube is nothing compared to the value that you would get from the audiobook blueprint course. I'm going to link it down below so you can check it out, read all about it, and see all the value that you can get from it, in addition to the one-on-one coaching that I provide that would give you tailored information based off of your situation, your circumstances, and your voice. With that said, I hope these tips that I shared in this video were helpful. And if you made it this far in the video, do me a favor and Let me know that you're here by dropping star emojis in the comments. That way I know to shout you out. And remember to also let the algorithm know that you like this video by giving it a thumbs up. And also please don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you can be notified when I drop a new video. Now, if you're someone that wants to make money by using your voice and not just do audiobook narration, I suggest you watch this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.
I might be broken down, but I'm smiling. I keep my head up high, though I fail. Sometimes I get a bit emotional, but then I turn around and let